everybody. So welcome back to Let Me Live My Life, a show about funny, talented nobodies. And today we are blessed, #blessed, with a visit from Aaron, my guitar teacher. Hi, Aaron.
Hey.
So you have been in music for how long?
Oh, 30 years probably.
So here's the thing. He's not just a guitar teacher. He has had such an amazing history being on stage for, what's the largest crowd you've played for?
Oh, I don't know, but I did play in the baseball stadium in San Francisco.
Wow.
Whoever that team is, I don't even know.
Who were you playing with?
We opened up for, what's their name? They played on Saturday Night Live. They have African American singers. They're awesome.
I don't know.
Yeah, you would know this band.
I don't know. We'll think about it when
Yeah.
we're not thinking about it. Who were you playing with? What band?
Neon Trees.
Okay, pretty good. So you were in Neon Trees for how long?
2 years, just one album cycle.
Nice. And you were playing, what instrument were you?
Mostly keys, but the guy from Fender came to my first gig,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Oh, so you're the new cowbell player."
He's like, you know what this song needs? More cowbell.
Yeah, so I did shaker, cowbell,
Nice.
and I sang some backups. Although our female drummer, Elaine, she handled most of the backups.
Cool.
And so I added in the ones that were left over. And yeah.
Very good.
It was fun.
So you've been in it for 30 years. So is it what you expected when you first started out? What did you expect?
Well, to be honest, when I first started playing in cover bands, I was 15 when I started playing at the local bar because the band that was supposed to play just didn't show up because it was kind of considered the worst
Musicians.
gig on the circuit.
Nice.
It was the lowest paying gig on the circuit. So when they didn't show up, they asked us, like local kids, we were all 15, to play.
Oh my gosh, that's
And
so exciting.
yeah, so I kind of got a taste of like, oh, I get paid for this.
Wow. And where was this? Is this in Vancouver?
No, Dawson Creek.
Dawson Creek, British Columbia.
Yeah.
Thriving metropolis.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So then you've been doing it for 30 years and you got started at 15. And what instruments do you play?
Mostly bass drums and guitar.
Mostly. Little keys, but
Little bit of keys, harmonica,
accordion.
mandolin. I actually just bought on Craigslist. I just bought an air hoop.
What the fuck is an air?
I believe it's a Chinese. It's basically a Chinese violin.
Oh, I have one of those with like the little thing on the end,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I have one of those. I can't. It's in Alberta in storage.
Oh.
So it's gotten a lot of use.
Yeah.
For my major Chinese following that I have. Yeah, no, that's cool. That's so interesting. So then, and now you're just like teaching lessons and gigging around Vancouver.
Yeah.
And how does it look different than you thought it would when you got it all started at 15?
I don't know. To be honest, I think I did the cover thing just because it was super easy.
Mm-hmm.
And then my friend, I played in a cover band with him, and then he moved out to Toronto, and he got into a band called Boy,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that, he started working with a singer called Lights. And so
Love Lights.
Yeah, so I kept in contact with him. He was the best man at my wedding. He's an awesome guy. I love him. But he had kept on coming back, and he knew that I was still doing covers and stuff in bars and stuff, and it was going well. I was getting paid to have fun. Mm-hmm. And he came back one time and saw a cover band that I was in on Granville Street.
Right.
And then a little while later, he said, "Hey, we might be adding a fourth person." And so I went and did that tour for
Lights.
a couple of years.
Ooh,
yeah.
so if you're Canadian especially, we love Lights.
Yeah,
She's so good. Oh, so talented.
And the nicest person.
Really?
I love being able to say that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more rare than it should be, I feel like. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Actually, I played a little bit with Sean Hook too, who is also like the nicest guy in the world. Like,
Cool.
yeah.
Well, you don't seem to have a lot of ego, right? And maybe that's something that maybe chills as we age. But I don't know, like, I think you've had these like big heights where you've played for like tens of thousands of people, and now you're just chill, like playing guitar and doing these gigs around town, and such a giving guitar teacher, like teaches in a way, like I can tell that you spend your time when you're like thinking about how you can get a different angle so that people that you're teaching can really understand and take it on board.
Yeah.
You know, like you're always looking for that kind of loophole into
Yeah.
teaching it, which is so amazing because it means you're really invested in what you're doing. But it's a very different life than when you were playing for tens of thousands of people.
Yeah, I think I fit the role of music teacher better than I do performer. I think it just suits me more.
Do you miss it though?
Miss performing? Well, I still do it.
But like, do you miss it on that level, or was that like?
To be honest, it feels like I went and did it, and I had a lot of fun, and I saw a lot of countries and stuff. But after a while, you start doing the same. When you start playing the same clubs, you're kind of like, oh well, I already did this, and you know, I'm away from my partner at home. You know what I mean? To be honest, being away from your partner at home is kind of that's kind of the balancing point. Like, do you want to nurture that relationship at home, or do you want to
Feed your
selfishly? Yeah. So, and a lot of people can make the whole having a relationship at home and being on the road thing work, but
I don't think that many people can.
no, I
think we'd like to think that. You like
Yeah.
to think that you can, you know, keep those fires lit. But like, I know my friend's husband plays with Jack White, and they have a rule that they do 2 weeks on, 10 days off. That's their rule, because they all have families. They all live in Nashville, and they have this little community. And in order for their families to stay healthy and everything to stay balanced, that's the rule.
Wow,
That's Jack's rule. Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if that's going to be more commonplace. We actually did a tour in Australia with this band called the Jezebels.
Okay. Yeah.
And they were awesome. They were super, super nice. And before we did the tour, I was like, who's Jezebels? Like, in Canada, we don't really know about them, but apparently they're huge. And
Yeah, I have a couple of songs. Yeah.
yeah. So I did some research on this band because I was like, I checked out their music online, and there's an article that said they had given up their homes, and they just constantly toured.
Wow.
So they didn't plan on living at home, and two of the four people were a couple.
Okay.
So I think the guitar player and the keyboard player were a couple. So they were fine just being constantly on the road. And then the drummer and the singer, I don't know what their relationship status was, but
That's interesting.
it was real interesting.
If you're someone who's not a big ego person, like you're so not, so like, I mean, you have your moments, but you cut like, from what I know of you, from our weekly half-hour to hour things, which generally we do a little bit of guitar and then we end up just talking about the music industry for like an hour. But it's great. It's what we need as musicians. But I mean, you're very different from me in this way. Like, I have this internal like fire, this internal like engine that also gives me crazy anxiety of like, okay, I have to get to this level. Whereas you seem much more content, like, and grateful for what you have and what you're doing.
Yeah, I wonder, like, on my side though, I wonder if I should be more ambitious. So there's that.
I think it's the happiness thing.
Greener,
I know,
right?
maybe. I don't know. I'm talking to this guy right now from Bumble, and his name is Karma. Yeah. And so we're talking about how like all of the external things are an illusion. All of like the externals that they don't actually add to our lives, but maybe just add to our misery. and that like striving for things to build us up or whatever. So I think it's a fine line between like building on your gifts and developing your gifts and having something to give to other people. Like when I write, I'm not just writing to like navel gaze. I'm writing to be like, this is really what's happening in my heart and in my mind, so that other people have a way to articulate it themselves. And so I try to get it to market so that I can then have a broader audience for that. But it so easily becomes this like egoic, externalization of worth, of worthiness. Whoa.
That's deep. Yeah.
Well, and you just seem just content, and I envy that so much because I'm like, all the time.
Yeah, I truly am content because I do kind of feel like, man, I've got this amazing situation where, like, I definitely, like, I think of people in third world countries and I think, oh man, like, I won the lottery being born in Canada, you know what I mean? And I don't want to take it for granted. And in a way, I feel guilty. Like if someone from a third world country came here and were given the same opportunities I have, they would totally run with it. I would hope to think that they would be like, oh my God, like, and they would put more into it. And for me, I'm actually just so fascinated with the way music works that I just know that I want to obsess over that, and I love obsessing over the way music works.
The nuts and bolts of it.
Yeah, and that's just so fun for me, and I'm lucky enough to be able to squeak out a living, just kind of making that work. And I just think, man, I'm just so lucky. Like, and like the tour, like with Lights and Neon Trees, I was just like, wow, like. I felt like so lucky. But my favorite saying in the world is, if I can remember it right, success is when preparation meets opportunity.
Right.
And I always think of like, I was lucky enough to tour with those bands, and I was lucky enough to be to get hired by, like, I played at every club on Granville Street, like. That's kind of lucky to have those connections and stuff. Right. But I also was the one of the guys in town that was most prepared for it.
Totally. Right.
And even like the touring acts, I was prepared and I got the opportunity and I ran with it. Kind of thing.
So then the advice, I guess, is whatever your instrument is, like I'm a vocalist, you are primarily, what's your primary instrument?
I would say guitar.
Guitar. And so like whatever your instrument is, you got to be ready for the coach to put you in. So I sang with Tom Cochran once, and they talked about me coming on tour with them. And I knew at that moment I could. Vocally, I was there, obviously like I have the skill set to be able to do that. And I chose not to. But it was one of those things like practice and be ready, because the opportunities do come out of nowhere. And I know people are like, you have two camps, I feel like. People who believe that it happens overnight.
Yeah.
And people who know that it happens in about a decade.
Yeah.
And 10,000 hours of practice at the woodshed, right? But you need to constantly be prepped so that you're ready. And yeah, that can lead to bitterness, I think, too, because you're like, I've been practicing forever. Where's Tom Cochran?
Yeah.
Right? But I think like I've had opportunities that have come to me, like that opportunity where I sang with Sarah McLachlan. I sang the dun 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 dun.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and it was for like 60,000 people, and just because I was able to be slotted into that slot as a backup singer, and because then when we were practicing, like with Tom and with Sarah, I put myself forward as the lead backup singer. Not in a way that was like, hey, pushing everyone. But it was more just like, I knew that I was ready and I was confident to step into that light. So just practice. And I say this knowing that this is my guitar teacher and I don't practice guitar very much. I'm like the laziest guitar student. Sorry. So are you going to play something for us?
I guess so. Actually, I when I teach, I have a file of the notes of famous nursery rhymes, and I have at Dublin Gate where I play on Thursdays. I have this like little fan club of like 2 or 3 young kids that are just amazed by the live musician.
Cool.
And so they come out every Thursday, and it's awesome. And
You're gonna play nursery rhyme?
yeah, well, maybe in this case. Yeah. A little out of tune.
Yeah. The guitar's hard to play. Whoa. I like that. Oh, I like that. That's cute.
But yeah, and I'm kind of playing it sloppy, but I actually just love the way the way that in nursery rhyme thirds are just so dominant. And then there's another. Just the thirds.
Very sweet.
Yeah. I like when I think of the song and I think of the kind of structure of the melody and the chords.
You wonder if that's because it's old enough that it has a contrapuntal basis. And thirds are counterpoint's best friend.
Yeah.
Right? If you're a lazy counterpoint writer, which I'm sure you all are, thirds are your best friend.
Yeah.
Can't do 2/5 in a row, but you can do thirds in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, parallel thirds has been so overdone.
You know.
It's funny because when you hear parallel sixes, you're like, oh,
Whoa.
what's that?
Right.
But
how many of you did we lose? It's okay. You're very smart and good at other things. That's cool. So then what's the next gig where people can come and see you? Like, what do you...
well, I'm every Thursdays at Dublin Gate on Main Street if you're in Vancouver.
Cool.
And at the Park Casino on Saturdays, we've been doing a
dueling pianos. Show. Oh, yeah. What time?
9:30 to 1:30 in the morning.
Oh, that's such a fun show. You guys should definitely go and check that out if you want to go to Park Casino, lose all your money, and then go cry and listen to music. It's a really good idea. And then do you have a YouTube channel that you're started?
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. I believe it's Aaron T. Grant.
Aaron T. Grant.
Or you can look up Aaron Tyler Grant.
Look it up. Aaron Tyler Grant on YouTube. Thank you for being interviewed.
Yeah, no problem.
This is cool. Like,
yeah,
the thing is, to learn people's journey is not always like, I just need to get to playing in front of 50,000 people and then I'm going to feel okay. But like, you've had that and you feel like cool about doing what you're doing now and you feel happy.
I just remembered the band.
What's the band?
Alabama Shakes.
Oh my gosh, Alabama Shakes.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. Don't wanna cry no more. Don't wanna cry no more. Anyway, pretty good. So thanks for watching. Thank you for being interviewed.
Thank you.
Subscribe if you like the content. I do generally 3 shows minimum a week of different content. And yeah, subscribe, ring the little bell, share it to your social. Okay, love you, mean it. Bye.